What is up, everybody? Happy Tuesday morning to you all. Let me make sure the sound is working. Happy Tuesday morning. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's doing good. Oh, man. We are going to get right to it this morning and check out Philip's conference from yesterday and all that stuff. But I just want to make sure my sound is working and everything is good, but we'll get right to it here as people start coming in. But I should have done this before, but I just have to make sure the sound is doing what it is supposed to be doing. Um, Edit mic settings. All right, I'm going to assume that the mic is working. I'm going to assume that the mic is working. If it is not working, y'all let me know. But I'm going to assume that we are good to go on the mic, and let's get right to it.
Good. Thanks for joining us. Dan Morgan signed three of the top, arguably the top 10 free agents on the market, and that's something that was unthinkable a few years ago. In your case, why did you join the Panthers, and is the perception of playing for the Panthers changed among the NFL players?
Yeah, I think that what the team was able to accomplish last year was extremely impressive, and I think everybody kind of recognized the organization as a contender and somebody, a team that's up and coming. I think that Dan did an awesome job of who he signed, and I'm just excited to come in and contribute to what the team was already doing in the upwards trajectory of what the organization was doing.
Just one quick follow-up. As a new leader of the room, how important is it to you to mentor Scorton and Princely and to create something that's been missing for a long time, a consistent pass rush?
Yeah, I think them two in particular are super talented young guys. I saw them jumping out on film a lot last year when I was doing film studies. So, I'm just excited to come in. Obviously I'm not like a 10, 15-year vet, but I've played in this league.
I do kind of wonder why they didn't actually bring him into the building. I feel like that is a thing that they normally do in these situations, but I mean, I'm not going to complain too much, but like normally their sound is like phenomenal.
A fair amount. I have some good experience, so I think that I can come in and help contribute from whether it's a mental standpoint or just whatever guidance they need, and I'm sure they're gonna help me out with a lot of things too. So I'm excited to get in that room and just start building that bond with the guys.
Hey, thanks. Good luck in Carolina.
Thanks, Jeff.
Hey, wait. I need you to show me how to convert a Word doc to a PDF again.
Seriously, you know?
Hey, Jalen, David Newton with ESPN.com. Congratulations.
Oh no. The first David Newton question.
I wanted to ask you your emotions when you got the big deal with Carolina compared to what you were feeling way back when the injuries forced you to basically give up football or thought you were giving up football.
Yeah, if you had told me that this was going to happen a handful of years ago, I might have told you were crazy. I always had the belief in myself. I've always known, what I can accomplish. But, truthfully, with this game, you never know. Especially back injuries was definitely, a tough time that I had to go through. And I just put my head down and, continued to have faith in the process, have faith in God, and that, if I just, kept doing my job and that everything was going to work itself out. But it was a pretty surreal moment when it happened. And, I really would rather be anywhere else but the Panthers. So I'm just very grateful for everything.
And what did your parents mean back then? And their musical background is amazing. So how did their influence and knowing the music side that you actually got into, how did that all play into everything?
Yeah, so music kind of found me. Like I said, I grew up in a musical family. Grandfather was a symphony conductor. Both parents were instrumentalists. I grew up playing the piano some, but when I retired from UCLA, that's when I really poured myself into music. And it was there for me in a time when I needed it the most. It was very cathartic for me. It allowed me to start to establish an identity outside of the sport, which as you guys all know very well, it's very hard for guys sometimes when they stop playing their sport, trying to find their identity, trying to figure out what they're going to do with their life. So I was able to have that opportunity, and then when I got back into the sport, it just gave me a whole different appreciation of what the sport means to me, and ever since then, just I've been able to focus on football, obviously, but still have music as something that's I'm passionate about in the off season, or just whether it's as a listener, as a producer, engineer, something that still plays a pivotal part in my life. And
I did want to make the joke yesterday when the news was breaking about him and music. I was like, is this why Tepper wanted him? Because he's bringing music to Charlotte. But then I was like, no, that's too low. That's too low. I don't need to go that low. It's okay. Plus, Tepper has gotten better at that stuff too. But I did have the thought. I did have the thought.
You know, in terms of my parents.
We'll call it an intrusive thought that I had. An intrusive thought about Tepper bringing music to Charlotte.
You know, just being there to support me through everything. Obviously, you know, they encouraged me when it came to the music, but you know, my dad in particular just always told me, he's like, man, I really think that you can get back into football and still do something special with it. And at first I didn't believe him, but you know, we butted heads, we went back and forth, but ultimately, you know, kind of took his guidance on that. And I know it was a very special moment for both him and I when I did sign this contract, and we were able to just kind of look back and reminisce on, you know, 2018 when like I said, I was just arguing with him every day. I don't want to do it. It's not for me. So it's a blessing, man, and I'm so thankful for them for supporting me, and you know, for everything that's gotten to this moment.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, David.
Scott Fowler, followed by Mike Kay.
Hi, Jalen. I wanted to ask you, for people who have not seen you play regularly, how would you describe yourself as a player?
Oh man, max effort, tenacious, disruptive. I think that's three kind of words I can describe it briefly. You know, I think that I still have room to grow, obviously, as a pass rusher.
He is very eloquent. Like, he's going to give you a lot of, you know, like sometimes players go up there, right? Like sometimes players go up there and they don't say much. That's not going to be him. He's going to have plenty to say, which I like, right? Like for Panthers fans who really want to know more about the players, you want to kind of hear more. So I like that.
And you know, I kind of used this phrase when I was talking to the team, you know, a couple of days ago, but just turning all that disruption into production. You know, I think that's kind of the next step of my career. But at the bare minimum, I'm a disruptive force. You know, I go out there with max effort, with huge heart. I'm a team guy, and you know, I just try to bring my teammates along with me. But you know, when I get on that field, man, it's instinctive, it's fast, and it's like I said, it's balls to the wall, 100% every time.
One other thing, with that great big contract, do you have any plans for that money, or have you ever made a splurge purchase on it yet?
I'm buying a house, man. I'm buying a nice house in Charlotte, nice backyard with a pool, and you know, a place for my future wife, fiance currently, and baby boy that's coming in a couple of days to feel settled and, you know, build our family. But I'm a car guy too, so I'll probably get another classic Porsche and you know, get my wife something nice. But you know, I also just, you know, using that money to support my family, to support my loved ones, and to make a difference. I'm sure eventually I'll make some more sports purchases. I like watches too, so if you see me rocking a new AP, don't ask questions. You know where that came from. But yeah, man, I'm excited to be able to have this freedom, and you know, it's a blessing.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hi, Jalen. Congratulations. This year, guys were able to have Zoom calls with, I mean, obviously this is your first foray into free agency, but guys were able to have Zoom calls. Were you able to take part in a Zoom call before you agreed to terms? And if so, what did you learn about the organization from that Zoom call, if you did?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't even have a Zoom call. It all happened very quickly. It was within the span of, you know, basically, you know, found out that the Panthers were interested on like a Friday, and then you know, my agent kind of dealt with everything. I trusted him and deferred to him to, you know, negotiate well and do all that. And then, you know, when the offer came in, then I was able to, you know, talk to the coaches, talk to Dan, do all that. And
it does kind of feel like the Panthers they did not. I mean, Dane Morgan, and we like this, right? Like Dane Morgan, after what happened with Milton Williams last year, said we're not doing this again. Like, we are not going to miss out on another guy again. We're going to go get our guy and do the thing, right? Like, we're going to go get our guy. And I appreciate that, because I'm just after we're I mean, I don't think anybody thinks that the Panthers are in like the Los Angeles Rams or the Seattle Seahawks or these teams that are phenomenal, but like they're in a really good position to win the NFC title. To win the division, and then just to keep going after that. So like, I'm glad Dan didn't mess around. I'm glad Dan was like, yeah, this sounds great.
It was a match made in heaven, honestly. I think that we're all very like-minded, and you know, I know what their goals are, and they know what my goals are. So, like, I do think that it was a really good fit for me. And like I said, I wouldn't rather be anywhere else. I'm very grateful to the Panthers organization and, you know, everybody involved in bringing me out here.
With that fit in that match, there's obviously a lot of carryover from Vic Fangio's defense to this one. DJ obviously having a background with him and adapting some of his philosophies. Why do you think you were so successful specifically in Vic's defense?
you should get life insurance because you never know. My dad has never been in better shape. Lost weight, exercising every day.
I think that the way that Vic utilizes really the whole defense, but especially the edge players, the defensive front, I think it just allows me to play free. It's not easy, but it's simple. There's not a ton of different moving pieces when it comes to pre-play adjustments, things like that. It's pretty much a lot of the, whether he's running nickel, especially line up, rush. That's it. And so for me, that just allows me to clear my head and to trust my reads, use my eyes and my instincts to play. And when I am asked to drop in coverage, when I am asked to do different things within the 3-4 scheme, I can do those things as well. So, but at the core of it, I just think that it's very conducive to instinctive and quick and kind of mindless, you could say, play.
Joe Person, followed by Gabe McDonald.
Hey, Jalen, thanks for doing this. I'm with the Athletic here in town. You referenced this a minute ago, but the turning that disruption into production. How do you do that? What's because obviously your pressure rates have been among some of the highest in the league.
Yeah, I think that some of that is out of my control. You can make a crazy disruptive play and the quarterback rolls out to the other side, or somebody else makes a sack, or he gets the ball off. Especially in the league nowadays, I think the quarterbacks are really good at being efficient and getting the ball off quickly. But there are a lot of situations where I do beat my guy and I'm at the top of the rush, and whether it's that extra bend or it's being on point with my hands, whether it's finishing the rush, there's just football is truly a game of inches, and so I think that for me to just keep honing in on the technique and fundamentals and getting to that point. I've always had confidence. I've never had a problem with getting to that point. It's just a matter of finishing sometimes. And so, I think knowing, what I need to work on, getting with my coaches and really honing that in, that's going to make a big difference.
And then there were, you obviously agreed to terms within the first hour of the legal tampering period, but there were reports that the night before that the Eagles were going to make a very aggressive push. Did that happen? And how close were the negotiations between those two teams and maybe even any other?
Yeah, out of respect for them, I don't want to disclose what they're offering or anything like that, but they definitely did want me to come back, and that's something I knew after the season that they were going to be making a push, and but ultimately, Panthers just they came with a more attractive offer, and clearly that just shows the belief they have in me, the belief they have in their team. They're willing to invest in pieces to try to take this team to the next level. So yeah, it came down to it, but ultimately it was kind of a no-brainer to come to the Panthers.
Gabe.
Hey, what's up, Jalen? Gabe McDonald from the local Fox affiliate here in town. Recently saw the mic'd up video after you guys played when you were in Miami, coming here in Carolina. You said you had a lot of homies on the team. Just those relationships, how are those going to help in the transition when you think about a lot of former teammates from your days with previous teams, especially a guy like Rob Hunt, just helping in the transition getting here?
Yeah, it's really cool to be able to go somewhere new. I kind of compare going to a new team. It's like going to a new school when you're young. And frankly, in that situation, you really don't know anybody typically. So for me to come into a new team and already be familiar with some of the guys, I think that, it'll help a little bit of the transition. But ultimately, I'm just going to come in and be myself. And, I know that the guys are going to be great and I'll be able to make relationships pretty quickly. And I'm just excited to really get in the building and get to know everybody.
I think it's interesting that person specifically asked him, right? Person specifically asked him, hey, it's a good question by Joe Person to ask him, how much money did the Eagles offer? Because I don't know, that's a good reporting question to me. So everything that I have heard is that the Eagles also wanted him back, right? And by I've heard, I'm just a small streamer here. But there was a lot of interest from, multiple teams were interested in him, but I think he was expecting to sign with Philly. He did not think he was going to sign with anybody else. And then Dane Morgan and company said, no, we're going to lobby for your services.
Alex Zitlow, followed by Deshaun.
Hey, Jalen, thanks again for taking the time to do this. I wanted to ask about being traded in the middle of the year last year. What was that experience like, having to be in one system 1 week and then another system the next?
Yeah, it was pretty hectic. It all happened super fast, kind of like this free agency did. But, it was, like I just said before, it was kind of like going to a new school, a new team. Luckily, I obviously playing under Vic before, there was a little bit of familiarity when it came to the scheme and everything like that. But, I just came in and, kudos to everybody in that organization. They really, embraced me when I came in and helped me with my transition. But, also when it comes to me, I've always been a guy who, I want to earn my teammates and my coaches' respect first and foremost. So, I don't come in with any sort of arrogance or, any sort of standoffishness and that's weird. But
It is.
you know, but you know, just coming in, being humble, and you know, really, like I said, I have a lot of respect for what the guys on the organization do, and what they've been able to establish there already. So for me, it's not about trying to come in and step on any toes or assert dominance or anything like that. It's just like coming in as a humble worker and learning the system, learning the guys, and putting my best foot forward. So that's really what I'm going to do. Coming into the Panthers organization, come in, gain the respect of my coaches, my teammates, the city, everything like that, and just give my best effort every day.
And a quick follow-up to that. You've been
This season, you've got places to go, people to see, and things to do. You may have already gotten vaccinated for flu and COVID-19, but
in the NFL for 5 years. You're well established, obviously. But I'm still curious, is there, like, I don't know, any misconception about your game that you want to prove wrong coming to Carolina or anything like that?
I mean, I guess really the only knock you can say about me is that I don't have a bunch of sacks, which as we all know is kind of it's not that it's irrelevant. Obviously, production matters, but at the end of the day, like as long as you're being disruptive, as long as you're making an impact, making plays, this game is about a lot more than sacks. So, I do want to get those sack numbers up. I've always known that I can be a 10 plus, 13 plus sack guy, and to be able to come and really, for my own personal goals and what I want to accomplish in this league too. Like I want to establish myself as one of the top elite guys, and I think parts of our game are elite, but I think that just making everything, bringing it all into one, I think that's kind of a misconception you can say. But everybody who knows. If you watch me play, if you see the stats, if you see the in-game production or disruption, that I try to do a good job, man, and I do make an impact on the field. So I'm just going to continue to keep trying to do that and elevate my game in every way.
Awesome, man. Thanks.
Jalen, good morning. I was curious. It sounds like you have a lot of life milestones happening all at once. In addition to the new contract, a fiance, a father to be. What has that part of the process been like? You starting all these new chapters at once?
Oh man, it's this month of March was I was looking forward to it for a while, just knowing that everything was coming. I didn't know where I was going to be.
He is kind of having like if you look at the blueprint that the Panthers did, he's having a lot of things happening in his life, right? Like he's having a baby, he's about to get married, he just got $120 million contract. Like there's a lot going on.
But I knew I was going to be signing somewhere. Obviously, our due date's been at the end of March this whole time. My sister got married this past weekend, so it's been a truly special time. And leading up to it, it was one of those things where I kind of felt myself super antsy and impatient and just wanted everything to come. But then it just came all in once. And so at this point, I'm really just trying to soak everything in and be present. Especially with the little one coming. You can't get that time back. So for me, just taking it day by day, appreciating every day, appreciating the monotonous times, appreciating the hard times, the good times. And then when I do come, because obviously I'm looking forward to starting OTAs and moving to Charlotte and doing all that. But it's going to come when it comes, and I can't make time go any faster. So for the time being, I'm just going to, like I said, be present and be grateful for every day.
Awesome. Congratulations. And on the wedding for your sister.
Thank you. Yeah, it was awesome.
We're going to end with David Newton, followed by Mike K.
Yeah, appreciate another question here. You just had a sack on Bryce Young this past season. Have you followed his career very much, and just kind of how have you seen him evolve as a quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
Good to know that David Newton is asking a good question there. Way to go, David. We always knew it was in you. I probably shouldn't say that on the internet. I'm so tired of the Dave Newton stuff sometimes.
Him being a SoCal guy, I've been in tune with what he has going on over the last couple of years, and all I can say about him is I have a lot of respect for the way he's dealt with adversity. Obviously I know his career so far hasn't been this perfect linear straight path or whatever, but ultimately it never really is. And I think it's more of a testament to him, and it's more impressive to him that he's been able to go through starting, getting benched, coming back, and for him to always be a team guy, to continue to believe in himself, to continue to work hard, and to come in last year and really kind of boost the organization and take them to the playoff appearance and really almost a playoff win. So I know that I don't know him ultra well personally, but I'm excited to get to know him, and I'm excited to see how he continues to grow as a leader on this team.
Sorry about the dog barking there, but I want to ask you too. You've been on some good defenses, so how close is this defense of what you've seen from just looking at it quickly, what you've added with you and Lloyd? How close is this defense to being up in that elite level you think you want it to be?
Yeah, I think that's up to us. I think that we have the pieces and we have the talent, and we're going to go as far as we're able to take this thing. So You know, we can't just sit here and say, oh yeah, we have all this talent, we're automatically going to be incredible. Like, it takes hard work. It takes, you know, all this time that we're going to be spending the offseason, you know, building this and cultivating what we have. You know, I think the potential is out of the roof, but I think ultimately it comes down to, you know, who we want to be and how we attack it on a daily basis.
Thanks again.
Hey, Jalen, talking to folks that worked with you in Philly, they said when you got there, it was like you'd been there forever. You were really quick to adapt, really quick to make friends. Dave Canales and Dan Morgan are huge on culture. I'm just curious, what's your approach to entering a new locker room, and then also off the field, getting involved in the community with your foundation?
Yeah, I mean, I think my approach is just humility and hard work. You know, I think that's everything it comes down to. Like, ultimately, you know, like I said, I'm not trying to come in and step on any toes, but, you know, knowing that, you know, the investment they put into me, the expectations they have for me to, you know, to be a leader on this team, to be a driving force in the direction this team is trying to go in, you know, I'm going to come in, I'm going to work hard, and I'm going to be myself. And so ultimately, I believe that, you know, they'll appreciate that, and they'll, you know, I'm going to get along with who I get along with. And, you know, I'm an easygoing guy. So, you know, for me, I'm just excited to come in and start building those relationships. And then when it comes to the community, I'm extremely excited. I've heard amazing things about, you know, Carolina, about Charlotte. And so for me, with my, you know, foundation, you know, in the music space and coming in and, you know, giving kids and underserved communities, you know, the opportunity to learn about music, music production, music business, all these different facets of music. It's really exciting. You know, I know my mom's excited for it. She basically runs my foundation. And we've been kind of waiting for me to be settled so that we can really go full force ahead with this. And, you know, so I think that it's going to be really cool to be able to get in the community and just, you know, do as much as I can to make an impact and a change.
That was good. That was good. He seems to me, I mean, one, he's really eloquent. He talks really well. He's just, I mean, Dunk and I were kind of going back and forth on Twitter because I made a tweet. I hate calling it X now, but I essentially said like he's going to, you know, it's going to be very different. It's going to be different, and because the players actually want to come here now. Like, players actually want to come to Carolina, and he put a GIF essentially saying like money, like they're coming. And you know what? He may not be wrong about that. He may not be wrong. It may be about the money, but I still think the narrative about these players is changing. I mean, years ago, even Pat McAfee, like, he was talking about Carolina just being so bad, just being so just terribly bad. So, I mean, I think to me, I think the culture is changing. So
here's the pen that erases scratches instantly. Look, no cut, no Photoshop.
The breaking news of last week that I think surprised everybody was the Carolina Panthers signing Rasheed Walker, free agent offensive tackle, who every once in a while this happens, right? I'm not here to say it 100%, but it appears there was some kind of disconnect between insiders and analysts and what the market actually said for Rasheed Walker. Every list I could find, and over the weekend I went and tried to find some, Rasheed Walker was a top 10 overall free agent. In many cases, the #1 offensive tackle free agent. On every list, every available, every hot list, every potential impact free agent list, like, he was top 10 any position, and in many cases, top offensive tackle. He signed a 1-year, $10 million deal. Most projections had him on some kind of multi-year deal at $20 million per or more.
it's not even a 1-year, $10 million deal. It's a 1-year, $10 million if you get all the incentives. So the max you can get is $10 million. The max you can get is $10 million.
He signed a 1-year prove-it deal, essentially, with the Carolina Panthers, which lines up perfectly. Because then after this year, if he plays lights out, you can pay him more and be much more comfortable with it because you've seen it already in your building. Or if Ike Ekwonu proves that he's back and he's ready to be the left tackle of the future like you drafted him to be, you can look at Rasheed Walker and say that this was a good business deal. You've proven your worth. Go cash in somewhere else, and we'll move on. So that alone, just hearing, like, you know, ESPN top available free agent number 5 at all positions, signs with Panthers at severely below projected value, really got Panther fans in their I don't know, their bag, if you will. Now, I love this offseason as much as anybody, okay? And that's not to say I love each individual player, each individual contract, but I like everybody said, hey, you need edge rusher? They got an edge rusher. Hey, you need off-ball backer? They got an off-ball backer. Oh, look, with Icky's injury, you probably need to think about having somebody you can start at left tackle this year. They got somebody they can start at left tackle this year. You're not going to agree with anybody on everything, but Like, you can agree on the to-do list, and they achieved it all. Here's my warning. Taking victory laps for winning the offseason is notoriously a shaky idea. Okay? I hope
Nah, I'm not. Nah, I don't want to be brought back to reality. What are we doing here? What are we? I'm going to hear him out, though.
And because there was a lot of bringing up like reactions to Dan Morgan being hired and everything else. And like, I hope everybody, including me, that was skeptical of Dan Morgan being hired because of his connection to the previous regime, going from a regime that made a lot of bad decisions and saying, they're gone, we're promoting the assistant GM. That's inherently going to bring upon some trepidation. I hope we were all extremely wrong for having any kind of what are we doing here feelings. But you don't make those decisions in March. Okay? There's still a world where perhaps a Jalen Phillips doesn't work out, and you're on the hook for what, depending on who you ask, is somewhere between like a 2-year, $60 million contract in reality and a 3-year, $90 million contract in reality. Like, you don't want to be on the hook for either of those if he's not everything and more that you think he can be. Right? There's a lot of worlds where free agency signings have gone from glitz and glamour and shiny to roughed up and gross pretty darn quick. So I'm here to say I'm as excited with what they've done as anything. But I've been around the football world long enough, and I know all of you have as well. I'm not unique in this experience to see teams have great free agency runs only to show up the next year and take steps back. And everyone's, what happened here? I thought they did so great. And it's just, it doesn't always work. I think the appropriate term would be a tremendous amount of cautious optimism. Like loads and loads of optimism spent very cautiously. Like you don't set yourself up. With that being said, one of those tremendous optimistic, although cautious, reasons is that they signed Jalen Phillips to a massive contract. We just talked about it.
Yeah, I think for me, I don't think that the free agency signings are going to cause us to win a bunch of things. But what they show is a balanced, methodical, phenomenal approach by Dan Morgan. That's what they show to me. It shows a man that is willing to be methodical, planned out, balanced in everything he does. How many years, like as fans, right? For how many years was it the kind of thing where it was like, it's the good old Panthers all over again. Carolina is doing the same thing. They're overspending on people that they shouldn't overspend on, and they're underspending on people that they should be spending more on. So for me, I think what excites me is that we are finally at a place where we are a competent franchise. Now, does that mean that the Panthers are the Baltimore Ravens? No. Does that mean that the Panthers are anybody really like in these top echelon? No. But I don't think it's about free agent. I don't think free agency is about, hey, are we winning now? Did we? No. To me, it's much more nuanced than that.
Jalen Phillips spoke to the media earlier today, and we have some audio just to get you more excited. After I told you to slow your roll, let's pump the excitement. Jalen Phillips on what the appeal was about going to Carolina. Here's what he had to say.
I think that what the team was able to accomplish last year was extremely impressive, and I think everybody kind of recognized the organization as a contender and a team that's up and coming. So I think that Dan did an awesome job of who he signed, and I'm just excited to come in and contribute to what the team was already doing in the upwards trajectory of what the organization was doing.
Skyscanner searches billions of prices from all our favorite travel sites in one place.
I probably shouldn't say this, but AutoZone hates when you do this before Black Friday, but they can't stop you.
That's pretty good. That's what never happened, 4 years ago. Oh, this team showed signs. Oh, what they did this year made me want to be a part of it. Actually, this might be something you can absolutely praise Dan Morgan for and not worry about the reasons for caution, like I just described. It does appear as if he's gotten rid of what used to be called the Panther tax or the Tepper tax, where it was like, hey, if I'm a free agent, it's going to cost X amount of dollars for me to go to any other team. But for me to go to the Panthers, it's going to be X amount plus 15%. It appears as if he's gotten rid of that. The culture looks good enough. The possibilities to win look good enough that Devin Lloyd didn't say, yeah, $15 million a year sounds good if I were going to Seattle. But since I'm going to Carolina, $18.5 million per year sounds about right. Right? The Tepper tax or the Panther tax seems to have gone away, which that is an accomplishment in its own right. I thought this was an interesting part of Jalen Phillips' conversation earlier today, and I'll explain why after. This is Jalen Phillips, again, big money, free agent, edge rusher, one of the top free agents in the entire class, signed with Carolina. Here he is talking about the his knowledge that he can add to the production he's put on the field?
I still have room to grow, obviously, as a pass rusher, and I kind of used this phrase when I was talking to the team, a couple days ago. But just turning all that disruption into production, I think that's kind of the next step of my career. But at the bare minimum, I'm a disruptive force. I go out there with max effort, with huge heart. I'm a team guy, and I just try to bring my teammates along with me. But when I get on that field, man, it's instinctive. It's fast.
Look, he's aware. I think my biggest takeaway from the Jalen Phillips stuff is that he's aware that his sack numbers need to be better. That's huge to me. It's huge that he's aware of that, right? It's huge. He's not just like, oh, I created a lot of pressures. No, he's saying, no, I need to be better. Like I actually have to be better. I have to be better at sacks. And regardless of whether you're looking at ESPN or whoever, what the main takeaway that I took is that like he is going to positively regress. And that doesn't mean so for example, and just go with me on this analogy, in the fantasy football community, sometimes what happens is like, oh, that player is due for regressions. They scored too many touchdowns. Or that player is due for positive regression. Because when people think regression, they think negative. There's such a thing as positive. Like, you got this many targets, you're going to get more touchdowns. I think it works the same way with Jalen. I think he's going to get more opportunities. We just got to give it time, man. We just got to give it time.
Fast, and it's like I said, it's the balls to the wall 100% every time.
He coined something that you will hear on this show 1,000 times. As we judge, and we will throughout the year and throughout the years, whether the signing of Jalen Phillips was a good one or a bad one, what you will hear me say is he translating his disruption to production? And it doesn't necessarily have to be his production, but it has to be disruption to production. He collapses pockets. He chases quarterbacks out of the pocket. If his disruption is turning into sacks by him or others, bad passes, tipped passes that lead to interceptions by him and others, fumbles forced by him and others, then we're going to be super stoked as a Panther watching community. But if it becomes a whole bunch of close but no cigars, right? A whole bunch of he beats his man, pass rush win rate goes up. Right? Oh, look at the bend. He got the edge. Advanced analytics love it. But it's just a bunch of quarterbacks stepping up in the pocket or making completions on the run. That's going to not be the same. Turning disruption to production is everything for Jalen Phillips. That's the whole kit and caboodle. Jalen Phillips, last clip we'll play for you at this moment.
All right. I think that's enough of that. Well, actually, let's just finish it. We only got 3 more
Obviously, was in Philly. Philly has a pretty good little thing going, right? They win a lot. Their GM finds a way to pay a whole bunch of people. If you remove the A.J. Brown drama, seems like they've got a good thing going. Jalen Phillips explained why he chose Carolina over staying in Philly.
I mean, I have respect for them. I don't want to disclose what they were offering or anything like that, but they definitely did want me to come back.
We listened to that already. So let's move on to something else. Why don't we go to, I want to do the stock exchange. Have y'all heard of the NFL stock exchange, guys? Yeah, let's do the NFL stock exchange, guys, because they are, they did a live, and yeah, I want to see who they mock to the Panthers.
My story is about supporting people when they need it the most.
My story is about creating a legacy of care. My story is
Did you see what Peter just did? I knew this would happen. All right, what were you saying?
Open a whole new world of fascinating places and people for just $34.
Beating the buzzer? That's easy. But stress sweating on live TV? That stinks.
Secret has 3 times the sweat protection versus ordinary antiperspirant.
Not using Secret Clinical? Now that's a rookie move.
Secret, fresher under pressure.
About Bono on this offensive line? No, it's the old vegetables versus sin.
New Old Spice Cosmic Quest 24/7 freshness makes me want to be Mario.
Yeah. Moving into this next season, but Cody Bach missed a lot of time the year prior, so I falls, of course. Yeah.
All right. We're gonna do 3 picks. So we'll do 3 picks before the Panthers, and then we'll do 3 picks after. And this is a 2-rounder. So, and the reason I want to do 3 picks before and after is because it gives you a general idea about who's going to be going in that range. So that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, they do. Because I think that's realistic.
I think so too. I'm going to take Jordan Tyson here at 16. Now, once again, this is a predictive mock. I think he is more in line of course, the medicals, blah, blah. It's like we have to say it as a caveat every time. I think he's more in line with what their scouting department would value than Mekhi Lemon. Now, if Tyson's gone and Carnell Tate's gone, maybe Mekhi Lemon is in consideration because they desperately need a number 2 wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
They can keep the slot open because Garrett Wilson plays inside and outside.
I think what's happening here too is these guys, so both of them have Tyson as their number 1 guy. So NFL Stock Exchange, both of these guys. And by the way, y'all should go follow them all. If you're an NFL sicko, if you're a Panther sicko, if you're a draft sicko, go watch their stuff. Like, they do summer scouting. Like, they're here all year round.
Adonai Mitchell plays outside, so that's fine. But I think they will value Tyson being a bigger player, a really high-end separator, his explosive separation and ball skills. So Jordan Tyson and Garrett Wilson as their wide receiver pairing. Once again, like, this is a predictive mock, and this is the direction I think the Jets would go if they were debating between him and Lemon.
You're making Panthers fans very happy.
They really want Lemon, right?
Because they do, and he's getting closer to them at number 19.
Who wants Lemon? I haven't heard one Panthers fan say that we really want Lemon. So I do disagree with that. I think the main guys for the Panthers are Thieneman, Tyson, and who's the third guy? Sadiq. God, everybody loves Sadiq at 19.
You're gonna break their hearts.
Yeah, of course. As a Bucs fan. Yeah. We're scrolling all the way down to like the 300s for the bit. No, I'm just kidding. So Detroit here at number 17. I like what Detroit has done, getting Cade Mays on the offensive line, allowing their interior to kind of stay the same with Tate Ratledge and Christian Mahogany. You have Penny Sewell, obviously, and then it's Giovanni Manu at the right tackle spot. We could go with the right tackle here. I think it's.
You mean left tackle or?
Yes. Sorry, left tackle.
Sorry, Penny Sewell.
Yes. I mean, I do think that Penny Sewell could play left tackle, but I guess Lomu's the only experienced left tackle. I'm not really worried about Penny moving to left tackle if he needs to be honest. Pass rusher, though, is where my mind goes because without...
Look at Miller at 20. Oh, right before they moved on, they have Miller at 25. Miller, a couple of months ago, was all the way back at the end of the second round, and he's all the way up to 25 now. Like, that's crazy.
Al-Qadim Muhammad, you basically just have Tyler Lacey and Ahmed Hassanin. That's it. That's on the edge spots.
Yeah, that is. They've let some guys walk. They've been looking for this kind of spot.
So here's somebody said pick Lemon. It's just 2 Amon-Ra St. Browns.
That's what I was joking about. But
so I think that this comes down to Akeem Messidor.
I keep interrupting them, but let me say this. Well, I'm not going to apologize. This is my stream, but I think it's a mistake to assume that Mekhi Lemon is the next Amon St. Brown. They are not. I know that St. Brown went in the 3rd round. I know their build sizes similar. I know they're really good with contested catches. I know that. I mean, a lot of stuff with Mekhi Lemon was like how he did. Anyways, like, I just want to clarify. I don't personally think they're the same player. And I think it would be a mistake to, for me, of all of the wide receivers in that range, right? Like Tate, Tyson, I actually have Boston ahead of Lemon, which I know a lot of Panthers fans do not agree with. I feel like I'm the only one that is clamoring for Denzel Boston. I think Denzel Boston is better than people think he is. And I think, but once again, they're all in the same range. Like, all of these guys are all in the same kind of sort of range.
Or Keldrick Fall.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Doesn't it feel like they would love Caden Proctor? They need a left tackle, and they love big people.
I think that they could absolutely be
okay.
in on.
I just wanted to at least address it before we make the pick.
I think they're going pass rusher, though.
Okay.
When you look at just what has happened in free agency, again, they already had a pass rush need, and then they lost Al-Qadim Muhammad. They have nothing on the edges other than Aiden Hutchinson. So I really do think that it's Akeem Messidor or Keldrick Fall. I would take Akeem Messidor. I think he's a better pass rusher. I think he's got more juice to him. Hand usage is already good enough to be able to contribute right away, which I think Detroit really wants and needs. I think Keldrick Falk would be a good player for them, but you're kind of betting on promise a little bit more with him. The question is, does the run defense, the overall size, and just the fact that he's one of the youngest prospects in this class and he doesn't have the injury history, that Akeem Messidor has, being an older prospect at 25 this rookie season, Do you have a feeling one way or another that the Lions would be more in on the younger edge rusher in Keldrick Fall? Because if so, then I think he would be the pick, but I don't have a good feeling one way or the other.
Oh, that's too high.
I don't think they look at it that way. I think they're just always trying to assemble a roster of who's just going to make them a better football team right now. Where I think they're one of the teams that would be okay with Messidor.
Then I'm gonna take Messidor. I'm gonna take Messidor here. So I laid out that argument. Those are the two guys I was between. To me, I think it's an edge rusher either way. It's just
I sometimes listen to Ollie on a Substack. He said that Messidor is off of certain people's boards because of the medicals and the age. Who do you want at pick 19? Thanks for the comment, man. I've got several. I think Thieneman. I would like Thieneman at 19 if he's available. I also would be very fine with Jordan Tyson if he was there at 19. And I would also like. I would not mind. Who's the last guy? I'm sorry, I'm having a brain fart, man. But Thieneman, Tyson. I don't want Sadiq. I think Sadiq is more of a. Everybody wants Sadiq. I feel like every Panthers fan is in on Sadiq. I am not in at Sadiq at that range. There's a third guy that I would be fine with, but I can't think of the name of it right now. But I'll let you know once I remember. Thanks for engaging, man. Appreciate it. Any other questions and stuff? Just let me know.
Whichever preference the Lions might have.
All right, Minnesota at 18. They are fascinating because they need help at defensive tackle. Caleb Banks' injury again, I think, is going to cost him in this draft. There's just no, I just don't know how you take Caleb Banks at this point in the top 20. I don't.
He's a big foot guy.
Yeah. So that's a problem. When you look at safety, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren makes a lot of sense for them.
Mm-hmm.
Whether people agree with it or not, he's going early in this draft.
I do think that Nick is correct. Wide receiver should be in consideration. I don't know how far.
CJ Allen, that's the last guy. I don't know if I'm saying this right. Demetriusism. I can't pronounce your username, but yeah, CJ Allen would be the last guy for me, man. CJ Allen would be the last guy. Who do you want? Who are your guys in this draft? Would love to hear who you like.
Removed they are from Jordan Addison maybe not being on this team for a lot longer. And
I forgot Lemon's there.
Right. And they don't have Jalen Naylor either.
God, that's crazy that it's not often that Lemon is here.
And you just signed Kyler.
Before Skyscanner, finding travel deals was a big game. I know because I invented it.
What is the next step on our quest?
Right.
Yeah, I know you lost Naylor. I get it. But I think if you're Minnesota, how do you go into the year for Brian Flores with this defensive tackle and safety room when you could probably get a capable number 3 receiver on day 2 of the draft?
I would tell you that this safety class is good enough to where we're doing 2 rounds, obviously. So we're picking at 49 again. I bet you'll have the opportunity to take a safety at 49.
That's fair.
Right. Like Halsey could be there. Maybe you feel good about Kamari Ramsey. Zakee Wheatley if you want it more of a free safety type of a player.
I mean, you know who I would take here that I don't think is going top 20? I would take Caden McDonald here every single time.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think he's going top 20.
Garrett Greenlee's in the chat just spamming the lemon emoji.
McDonald to me is actually a really good option if we trade back. All right, here we go. My man, Sadiq is cool, just a bigger wide receiver that can block, in my opinion. I'd like a top quality safety next to Morrig. Yeah. Our secondary will be top 10. Thieneman or Warren would be great. Also, interior defensive line would be nice too. Bro, I'm right there with you. Like, I am with you on all of that. I like a lot. I like a lot of that too. I'm just changing it so I can see your comment. I like a lot of that too. By the way, for those of you on Twitter, somebody said Sadiq, I just read it, but Sadiq is cool, just bigger. I think my issue with Sadiq is we're assuming that Sadiq is like the next coming of Loveland or Warren or Bowers. And I think Sadiq might be in the range for being more like Kincaid, right? Like, I think he's more in the range of being some of these other guys that just are fine, but they're not a first rounder for me. I'd also, like I said, I'd be fine with Thieneman. I am a little lower on the safety from Toledo, but like I'd be fine to get a safety later on in the draft. We definitely need an upgrade over Nick Scott. I mean, I think the Nick Scott stuff We need an upgrade. But yeah, that sounds good, man. Appreciate you being here. Like, subscribe, do all the things that make the channel grow. But I appreciate you being here, man. All right, where are we at?
I mean, Lemon's the fun pick. It would absolutely break the hearts of the Panthers fans that have been sitting here waiting for this. I agree, though. Like I said it, I don't love their D tackle room. I don't know how you expect Brian Flores' front to compete with that D tackle room. I'm going to take Caden McDonald. I know we're trying to stay in the mold of predictive.
He's not going there.
But you're not like all the D tackles are going to be what 49 is their next pick.
McDonald to me is in that 25. By the way, I like McDonald. I like McDonald for Carolina later on. But I just don't like it right now at 19. All right, let's see. My man said something else here. Our defense is the forefront of this organization. The better the defense, the more opportunities our offense will have to flourish. I'm with you. I think it's a balanced approach, right? You need defense and then you need offense as well. You need both of them. But yeah, I think the reason, I don't know if you feel this way, but I think the reason that Morgan started with the offense is because he was like, when he came in after 2023? And he saw that Bryce Young was getting literally murdered. Like, that offensive line was trash. When he saw that he was getting literally obliterated, he was like, okay, I've got to pay Robert Hunt. I've got to pay Damian Lewis. I have to solidify this offensive line. And now it's kind of a return to, yeah, but I'm with you in all that. Like, that's what I want to.
49 is your next pick.
I can get a receiver or safety at 49. Do I think any of the defensive tackles that are ready to play next year are just sitting there at 49?
I want a defensive tackle. I just don't love any of the DTs here right now. I just don't love the defensive tackles right now.
Well, probably the one that you would want is Christian Miller. I don't think he gets to 49. And then you're looking at, Dominique Orange, Darrell Jackson Jr., those guys sort of play that role that you're looking for. All right, the Panthers are up at 19. So the Panthers, Jalen Phillips, Devin Lloyd, I think those two moves on the defense side of the ball allow them to go offense.
Yeah, that's great flexibility they created for themselves.
Because you got to think about what they did last year as well. A lot of defensive free agents, like Deshaun Wharton came over, Bobby Brown came over. Remember, they had the re-signings of J.C. Horn. I think Mike Jackson signed a deal last year as well. They signed Trayvon Merrick too. This year, it's a lot of money in Devin Lloyd, a lot of money in Jalen Phillips. And I think that gives them the flexibility to be able to go with an offensive player. I think that them getting Rasheed Walker on a one-year deal is such an excellent move for them. Yep. I think they also need to add a center at some point after losing Cade Mays, but you're not going to add a center here at number 19. With Lemon on the board, I kind of think that it's Lemon. Is there somebody else? I mean, I don't love Trevin Wallace, but I wouldn't take CJ Allen here. You could think about it, but I don't think that they would.
No, I think that was the point of going out and getting Devin Lloyd.
Right.
CJ Allen, baby. CJ Allen. That's my guy. I think CJ Allen. And for those of you that said we just spent money, on what's his name? Devin Lloyd. Can you imagine the foundation for the next at least 3 years of CJ Allen and Devin Lloyd and essentially not having to worry about that linebacker room? Can you imagine what a ridiculous linebacker room that's going to be? That would be insane.
I don't think they'd pick Falk over Lemon.
I'd hope not.
God, no.
At this point, it would just be like, is it Mekhi Lemon or do you love Omar Cooper Jr. that much?
Yeah, that's the receiver I find myself writing into them because Lemon's not always here.
This season, you've got places to go, people to see, and things to do. You may have already gotten vaccinated.
Yeah, that would be some kind of prop to set right now, right? Omar Cooper going before Mekhi Lemon.
There's a world where you could convince yourself that Omar Cooper Jr. is the better Z receiver, which is kind of what the Panthers would want schematically because Coker could be the slot for you.
I was asked by I think Capo on Panthers Twitter, essentially like, how do you feel about Omar Cooper Jr. Omar Cooper Jr. keeps rising on draft boards, man. He was essentially solidified as a second round pick for a very long time, and now he's just going in the first, like over and over and over again. He might go to San Francisco. I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going to happen there, but he's a really good player.
Tet obviously can do it all, but he's like the outside X, and then Cooper Jr. is the Z receiver. But I fully believe that Mekhi Lemon can be a great Z receiver as well. I'm going to take Mekhi.
Okay.
I wanted to have that conversation, but I'm going to take Mekhi at 19 for the Panthers.
All right, the Cowboys. We believe Jerry when he says they're not going to take a.
We're going to do, once again, for this specific mock draft, we're going to do the 3 before and the 3 after. So we have I know the Panthers just went, so we have a general idea of what the Panthers want to do.
An injured player, right? Like McCoy just is not in play here.
I don't think
so either, which is a shame because when he's right, this would make them so much better. So much better. I'm gonna go with CJ Allen.
Yeah. Oh no, it's not even close.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with CJ Allen. So you got Thieneman, right? Thieneman went ahead in the yes. Thieneman and CJ Allen, man, you just got so much better in the middle of the field.
That's
so much better in the middle of the field. Linebacker is a absolute hole for them right now. Allen also, like, I want to make it clear, I think Allen is worth this pick. I know some people are kind of torn up off-ball linebacker and Allen here. I think he's certainly good enough to go in this pick.
I agree with you.
Steelers at 21.
Steelers at 21. So we often go wide receiver for them here at 21. And I suppose we can still, but I don't want to because I still think there's something there with Roman Wilson.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out from them, right?
And it's a whole new coaching staff. Troy Fautanu played left tackle at Washington. He plays right tackle for the Steelers. But like, if you're giving up on Broderick Jones, I think you could move Troy Fautanu if there's somebody who's more of a right tackle fit. Like, I look at Blake Miller and I wonder if that's the best pick for them.
Yeah, I mean, the beauty of Fautanu is that he's one.
What I really want more than anything is because Blake Miller for months was the second round guy. And now he just continues to keep moving up on draft boards. But for months he was like, and he's just so good right now. He's just so they just keep just going more and more. And so like that doesn't make me happy because I wanted Blake Miller in the second. I think Blake Miller would have been a phenomenal replacement for Taylor Moton. You know, everybody was talking about our left tackle position. What about our right tackle position? Like, Taylor Moton is at the end of his career. And I think sometimes Panthers fans don't realize how good Taylor Moton has been for this team because he's been literally the best player on that offense, the most consistent player for, I don't know, how many years has he been playing? It's insane.
One of the rare guys in the NFL. You could argue he's effective at all 5 positions if you need
him. If Vega Wanda makes it here, I would kind of love that as well.
That's what I had in my latest mock draft, just because he did make it. And it's like the Steelers can't pass on someone like that.
Yeah, too bad he's already a buck.
Once again, we're looking at the 2 picks after the Panthers.
I was about to say, we're
looking at the 2 picks after the Panthers, just so we have an idea of who's going in this range. Okay.
Go Eamon Worry? Probably not. They have Jalen. They just signed Darnell Savage and Jaquan Brisker. They signed Jamel Dean on the outside.
Oh, McNeil Warren?
Yeah.
Did you say Eman Worry?
Oh, did I say
That's
that?
funny because the name Emmanuel and they both play this weird safety role.
No, when I see EMW, it makes me say Eamon Worry.
Yeah, no, that's what I thought.
That's happened like 4 times today specifically. I'm sure they would love to trade for Nick Eamon Worry.
That'd be pretty great.
I think I'm going to go Blake Miller.
Screw it. I haven't seen this yet, but you explained the path for him to play. So
he's good, y'all.
I'll go Blake Miller here. Roger Jones just has not been good enough.
No.
I really like Blake Miller. I really, really, really like Blake Miller a lot.
And obviously, this is not the staff that drafted him.
This staff is not going to have the patience.
No, I don't think so.
Chargers at 22. Obviously, guard is in play for them. Although the guys I like schematically, I think, are gone. This is a Mike McDaniel. Like, Caden Proctor cannot play guard in Mike McDaniel's scheme. So that's just to explain that process. That's one that doesn't fit.
You're doubting him, and now he's gonna hop on Ozempic, get the 280.
I know who I'm taking back to the best available. This would be McNeil Warren, I think.
Oh yeah, they need a safety.
Yeah, absolute wrecker, size, toughness, hits. Emmanuel McNeil Warren, and then hopefully I can get that guard when we do round 2.
Somebody's saying the trade down from the Chargers. We're not doing trades. We obviously did do a trade in this mock, but for the most part, we're not doing trades because we would be here for 4 hours instead of.
Also, like, no offense to the idea, but who's
All right. That's pretty much it for that mock draft.
Here's the pen that erases scratches instantly. Look, no cut, no Photoshop. We let the liquid flow into.
Joe Person is in Charlotte. He could go over to the game and help out the Wolfpack. He joins us now, but he's busy. He covers the Carolina Panthers, who have had, I think, a very productive, albeit expensive start to the new league year. How would you assess, sir, what the Panthers have done so far?
I would say it was pretty, dare I say, spectacular to open up.
You can.
And it was going to be hard to keep up that pace with those 2 big dollar signings with Jalen Phillips and Devin Lloyd. And frankly, I do think because they made that commitment, financial commitment, that the other signings we're going to see trickle in with maybe with one exception, maybe are going to be what we have seen. A few $1 million for Kenny Pickett, $3 million or whatever it was for center Luke Fortner, which is fine. Right. I mean, you can't unless you're the Raiders and we're sitting at $200 million or $100 whatever it was under the cap. You had to make choices, and Dan Morgan and Brandon Tillis and Dave Canales made the choice that they were going to go big time on that front seven, and it's hard to argue. I mean, my one quibble would probably be that you're paying a lot for future production for Jalen Phillips.
Right.
He's a guy's never had 8 sacks in his career. He's got good pressure rates. Like his other metrics, pass rush wise, are good, but he also has had some issues with injuries. But they paid him a lot of money. The Devin Lloyd deal, I thought, was really almost, a value type signing. I mean, they were projecting, The Athletic and others were projecting.
I've never heard of this guy. Who's the Adam? Let me pull this up. Who is the Adam Gold Show? Literally never heard of this guy. The Adam Gold Show. Oh, so it's a Raleigh. It's a Raleigh thing. Okay.
He got 19 and 20 million a year, and I think he got 15 at most. I want to see those numbers. I think they might have even gotten him less than 15 million a year.
I said the other day that I like Jalen Phillips. I like the Devin Lloyd acquisition more than I like the Jalen Phillips deal. I think for whatever reason, it seems to me, and I know there's an injury history with Jalen Phillips. He was like top 15, top 20 pass rusher. In terms of win rate, in terms of pressures and all of that. The sack totals weren't great, only 5 last year. They'd love to get the Jalen Phillips from years 1 and 2 before the Achilles injury. Right. But he looked like he was pretty effective last year. Of course, it's easier to be effective on Philadelphia's defensive line because everybody else is just such a masher that, you've got another guy who's talented, but he wasn't probably facing a ton of double teams either. So, and whenever you sign a free agent in year 6, and I realize that Devin Lloyd is also year 6. Man, part of me wonders if their best isn't behind them. Just the nature of the National Football League. You'd like to develop your own guys at that position, but at least they've addressed defense, right?
For sure. And Devin Lloyd's actually going into his 5th year.
Okay.
So a year behind, a year younger. That was fascinating. Like the Jaguars did not pick up his 5th year option, which is why he was available and why he hit the market. And as soon, a couple months after they declined that option, he went out and had the season of his career. And the thing that impressed me, and I know he played some safety at Utah, and I'm not saying he's, the next Luke Kuechly in terms of game changer and game taking the ball away. And I do think, when a linebacker has 5 interceptions, some of those are ball pops in the air and he grabs it. But there were a couple, that I can't say I grinded all the tape on Devin Lloyd, but like it was real easy to go watch the 99-yard return against Patrick Mahomes. And that was a terrific play in which he kind of read Mahomes' eyes, makes a break on the ball and, just a real athletic play. I'm like you. I think that guy, one of my friends at True Media who used to work for The Athletic, I asked him if he might be able to dig me up some interesting stats on each of these two guys we're talking about. And what he sent me back on Devin Lloyd, again, this is True Media, whatever. And I put this in one of my columns this week. His 5 interceptions last year, of course, tied J.C. Horn and others for number 2 in the league. Those also matched the entire interception total for the Carolina Panthers inside linebackers over the 6 seasons since Luke Kuechly retired. And I just thought that told a lot about Devin Lloyd and what he can bring. The entire interception total for the Carolina Panthers inside linebackers, of course, tied J.C. Horn and others for number 2 in the league. Those also matched the entire interception total for the Carolina Panthers inside line. And I put this in one of my columns this week. His 5 interceptions last year, of course, tied J.C. Horn and others for number 2 in the league. Those also matched the entire interception total for the Carolina Panthers inside linebackers over the 6 seasons since Luke Kuechly retired. And
that is insane. That is legitimately insane. I don't know why I'm that surprised, but the fact that and once again, a lot of those plays were, I don't think he's going to get 6 interceptions this year. But the fact that the hole that Luke Kuechly has left, that is crazy. That's insane.
I just thought that told a lot about Devin Lloyd and what he can bring to this defense.
Yeah, I mean, he's athletic, he's fast, he can drop into coverage, and last time we saw that was Luke Kuechly. I love this signing again more than I liked Jalen Phillips. And now that they've focused on defense and they've addressed 2, I think, glaring weaknesses, now they're free to do whatever they want with 19, which might even include trading back. But I've been harping on left tackle. What are you hearing about where they might address next when they get to the draft?
Well, you hit on it. I mean, this is a team that right now, the one signing that we should talk about at left tackle and right tackle, a swing type guy, is this Stone Forsythe.
Right.
Which to me just reeked of a guy who was familiar with this staff, was with Canales and Brad Idzik in Seattle. And listen, they didn't pay him a ton of money.
No.
It's $1 million, 1.9, whatever it was. That means you're not paying him that to go be even for like 6 games while I'm throwing that number out there, while Ike Ekwonu continues his rehab from knee surgery. You're not, this is a guy, you've seen the numbers. He was last in the league in terms of tackles with 11 sacks allowed, last 89th out of 89 qualified tackles. Now, 3 of those came at the hands of Myles Garrett. So we'll give him some grace there. But I watched tape of this guy. He's 6'8". He passes the eye test, but just not real athletic, not real nimble, and got Geno Smith and Kenny Pickett killed a lot in Vegas last year. So I don't like that signing. And then Josh Nijman announces last night, kind of out of the blue, that he's retiring. Right. I get the impression, Adam, that kind of caught the Panthers a little bit by surprise. And again, not that Josh Nijman's going to be the long-term answer at left tackle. All of which is to say is this team is feeling. I'm even before free agency, I thought left tackle was a very real option at 19. Even more so now. I mean, I for whatever it's worth, in my last mock, I had the Freeling kid at Georgia, being there at 19. I mean, that's that's touch and go. I mean, these tackles, as you know, as this process goes along, that is a premium.
I mean, I think Freeling is not going to be available at 19. Everything, really, I think the way the league is thinking about Freeling is that he's going to go to Cleveland at 6. Like, I just don't see it happening, right? Like, I do not see that happening. So I think if the Panthers want to go left tackle, the left tackles that are probably in that range of outcomes are Blake Miller. I think Caden Proctor might be there, but I'm not a big Caden Proctor guy, so I don't really know that I want Proctor. But yeah, I just think there's a wide, I don't know. I'm not opposed to taking tackle. This is the reason you did this is because you wanted to do best player available. So go get best player available regardless of what the position is. That's the whole point of BPA.
Him and premier position, and it may be that he goes earlier than 19.
And I've had conversations with you about this. Others, Ryan Wilson from CBS, I know he is mocking Caden Proctor, the tackle from Alabama, to Carolina at 19. I've been saying this about Ike Ekwonu for a long time. I like Ike. I don't think he is a top half of the league left tackle when healthy. I think he's good. I think that he probably, maybe even in the long-term plans of Carolina, on the right side when it's time for Taylor Moton to move on. That you just shift him over there where he's a mauling run blocker anyway, first and foremost, and then you find your real franchise left tackle, because it has not helped Bryce Young that he's getting too much pressure, and you need to have too much help to keep pressure off Bryce on his blind side. I think their offense would work much better with a better left tackle.
Yeah, I can't argue with you. I mean, I'm with you on Icky. I think he has gotten better. He had that 1 year, 2 or 3 years ago where he really struggled. I think it was Bryce's rookie year, and he's improved since then. And I hate it for him personally.
The injury,
the timing of this injury. You know, you want all these guys. It's such a brutal sport, and it's such a small window for these guys to make their money. And you know, we'll see. He rehabs well and gets back maybe more quickly than folks are expecting, because the Panthers still have been very guarded about a timeline on that.
I know,
and I don't know if that's because they don't want the rest of the league to know that.
Probably.
It also too. I actually did ask this question of someone in the building. You know, why the ambiguity. God, I can't say that word today. I shouldn't even have tried. But why are you hemming and hawing? Let's do that on this timeline. It's like, well, this is first of all, it is a very, very serious injury, as you know, patellar tendon. And guys do have different return times. I think ACL maybe a little bit more clear cut on the return to play, but this patellar tendon, you know, but at any rate, we know he's going to miss a chunk of time next year. And
I probably shouldn't say this, but AutoZone hates when you do this before Black Friday, but they can't stop you. Now watch this. You can fix it easily at home yourself. All you have to do, rub it for about 30 seconds, then just walk away and let it sit like 30 minutes. Let the magic happen. Come back with a little water, then wipe it off, and boom.
I still think, and you didn't ask me this, that they should sign another stopgap type guy who's better than Stone Forsythe,
right?
And draft a guy for the reasons you mentioned. Like Taylor Moton is finally.
I agree with Person wholeheartedly here. I think that's not being talked about enough. I mean, I literally just said it 5 minutes ago, right? Like, Moton's about to retire. Moton's literally about to retire. Like, it is.
After years of being the Iron Man where he didn't come off the field, is finally showing a little wear and tear. And so you get a guy, and then you start developing him, and whether it's Freeling or Proctor or somebody else. And who knows? It may be it's like, oh, actually, we need you on the right side before we need you on the left, because Taylor Moton's kind of nearing the end. So I like 19 for a tackle. We got another month and a half to hash this out, but I like where you're thinking on that too.
Final thing for Joe Person from The Athletic at Joseph Person, and I don't believe we have basketball on the main channel today. I don't think the folks at William and Mary are paying attention to what's ambiguity. I know. Look, I forget everybody's name all the time. What is the cap situation? Going into free agency. I mean, I'd seen numbers ranging from like 8 million to 20 something million, and I know they've already made moves to restructure deals. They restructured Derek Brown. They're probably going to restructure JC Horn. They have let other players go. What is the cap situation, and do they have room to do something else on a minor mid-level basis, something somewhere near what they paid Devin Lloyd?
For sure. Well, maybe not Devin Lloyd, but I think I read, Adam, they're around 30 after cutting A'Shawn Robinson, which was 10.5.
Yep.
And then, as you said, Derek Brown, which was 13.5, the restructure. But I don't know if that's reflective of, like I said, I mean, these guys were just they were starting to just file through the stadium yesterday to get these contracts signed.
Right.
So I don't know that some of these public sites, which are very good, by the way, the folks who run Spot Track and Over the Cap, much more financially and mathematically sound than my William and Mary background. But they're in good shape cap-wise. I mean, I think, as I mentioned this earlier, I think we saw, though, that it was like after that flurry, that 1-2 punch flurry of Phillips and Lloyd, it wasn't going to be like, okay, we're shopping at the top end of the center market,
right,
and we're shopping at the top end of the backup quarterback market. I don't know if there is a top end there, but and I think if someone popped that they really, I don't even know who it would be. I mean, Bradley Chubb's already signed.
Yeah.
I was thinking someone in that ballpark. Could they create some more? Absolutely. And you mentioned J.C. Horn would be the first place to start. And so I think they feel pretty good about where they are. And this is Brant Tillis and Morgan. I give them credit. They have not wanted to kick the can too far down the road on these restructures. So I think they're going to try to limit those. But Derek Brown's a guy who's going to be around a while. I think that one will age well.
Derek Brown's got basically an $11 million cap hit for this year. That's unfair.
Well, then it jumps to like 30 next
sure, but for this year,
That's right.
And they
Take
can.
it while you got it.
I don't know how many times you can.
I did see another. Let me see if I can pull up the PFF mock draft. I think this was yesterday.
Wow, Ocean Key is just breathtaking.
Reminds me of being on holiday. You know, when you
Just going to go. This is the best wide receiver in the draft, and come away with that conclusion. It's truly just the injury history thing. So I wonder if
Allen, I could take Caden McDonald. I can do a lot of different things.
the only other one that I would think of is Caden McDonald. But now, but if you don't pick Emmanuel McNeil Warren, now I think you're a coward.
Oh wow, we can't have that. All right, back to
we
it.
can't have that.
All right, go ahead. Carolina's on the board.
All right. Carolina's on the board.
No coward behavior in this mock.
No.
Treat it like it's your last.
Yeah, this is correct. Yeah, this is no coward mock. Not going to pick CJ Allen anymore with the money that they devoted to Devin Lloyd. They're not going to go linebacker in the first round. Don't give me that.
You trust Trevin? I mean, I don't think.
No, but they're not going to go. They're not going to pick linebacker in the first round. Jordan Tyson, they could.
I think it's really interesting when Trevor says there's no way that Dan Morgan is not going to go linebacker. I'm not so sure. Dan Morgan has seen how bad this is. If best player available, if it's really best player available and CJ Allen is there, I'm not convinced that he's not pulling the trigger. Like, I'm not convinced. I really don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility for the Panthers to. Now, if Sonny Styles is there at 19, let's get this out of the way. If Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, or what's his name? I'm having a brain fart. Or Jeremiah Love. If any of those guys drop, turn in the car Dan Morgan. But even then, I think CJ Allen is a really good football player. Like a really, really, really good football player. So, I don't know. I'll just leave that there.
I think Sadiq is very much in play here.
Sadiq is, if they believe in, the ceiling, like if they believe, hey, he's going to be a much more productive pro than he was at the college level. I don't think they're going edge rusher or D-line.
They could go interior. Like, I wouldn't hate McDonald here either.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh. Mark Cooper. We've heard Omar Cooper starting to get into this area.
So who's their nose right now? Who's nose for them?
It's Ashawn Robinson's gone.
Bobby Brown. They do have Cam Jackson, though. I think Cam Jackson's going to get some good run this year because he's a super strong player. He's got the long arms. He's perfect for the odd front.
And that's really redundant to McDonald. It's basically the same type of player.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't think they'll do that.
I think it's Sadiq or Allen. I think you could still think about Allen. Because if you don't, I'm taking him at 20 and we're just going to move on.
What pick do we have here? They have 52?
51.
51.
You can get a linebacker at 51 if you want him.
You can get a linebacker at 51.
You get anything you want at 51.
So I'm taking Jordan Tyson here.
The mystery box could be anything.
I'm taking Jordan Tyson.
Okay. Jordan Tyson. All right, we're going with it. You're putting Xavier Legette on alert right now.
Oh, he's just going to run the vertical routes. Yeah.
Oh, could do that too. Jordan Tyson, get that intermediate range going. The Arizona and Arizona State out there at receiver. Wow, gotta love it.
You see the vision?
I see the vision. All right, see. CJ Allen, no questions here at all at 20. I get a DB and a linebacker. That's the goal for me in the first round for Dallas. Moving on. Pittsburgh, 21.
Pittsburgh.
You trying to improve at tackle? Good.
Would love to, honestly.
I think this.
CJ Allen continues to be in that 18-20 range every time. Every time he's in that 18-20 range. I don't think he's out of the question. I just don't think he's out of the question. And I don't care that we already took a linebacker. Like, we can never take too many linebackers. So once again, like, I don't think he's out of the question. I think he's very much in play in that range. So that's my own personal opinion, but like, yeah, I just don't buy into
this is, I think, one that I might have done. I did this sometime in a recent mock draft, whichever one was my previous last one, and Omar Cooper makes a lot of sense here.
All right. What else do I want to look at here? Oh, let's see who Joe Klatt said.
Big news. Wayfair Spring Cyber Week is here. Right now, get up to 80% off everything.
Mock Draft 2.0 coming straight at you. I don't think that there's any bigger riser after the combine than Sonny Styles. This guy is 8 million miles per hour on every single snap. Jerry, take Caleb Downs. You will not regret it. I got to tell you, like, I'm not a huge conspiracy theory guy, but boy, this worked out really well for the Ravens. Touchdown. It appears that All-Pro Penei Sewell is.
All right. I want to do normally what I do with these mock drafts is we go 2 picks before and 2 picks after, or 3 picks before and 3 picks after. So I kind of wanted to see where we're at with this. So let's try this.
It's going to make the switch from right tackle to left tackle. Taylor Decker requested a trade and then was released. They signed Borum from Miami, but that's not a long-term fix. I think Blake Miller, the offensive tackle from Clemson, makes a lot of sense here. I'm going to go with Blake Miller. I think he's a really good player. A lot of these Clemson guys, and we'll see more of them here at the back end of the first round, I think they got hurt because of the high expectations that Clemson had, and they fell short of that. By the way, those high expectations really started.
Blake Miller going at 17. Blake Miller was going in the second round. This is, it's very, oh my gosh, it's just wild.
Maybe not started, but we bought in right here. I had them preseason winning the national championship. Nice pick, Klatt. Nice pick. Miller's got a ton of experience. He started all 4 years at right tackle, plug and play in there for Detroit. So Miller, the Lions, at 17. 18th pick, the Vikings. Minnesota has a huge need now at defensive tackle. They released their 2 starters from last year, Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave. In order to free up cap space, they had to do that. I get it, right? That's the business of the sport. Now they can draft a replacement, and he's going to be much cheaper. Peter Woods from Clemson. So here we go with the Clemson guys. It's Blake Miller at 17 and then Peter Woods at 18. He's a talented guy. Went into last year, I thought he was going to be a top 10 pick at the beginning of the year, but again, they fell short of expectations. So now I feel like if you just evaluate it and you look at his entire body of work, you would feel like this is a good value and a very specific need for the Vikings. So I like Peter Woods. I think he's a really good player, and he can help them at 18. At 19, the Panthers are on the board, and they lost their starting left tackle, Ekwonu, to that ruptured patellar tendon in the playoffs when they lost to the Rams. He's likely to miss this season. I like the idea of surrounding Bryce Young with talent, and that talent doesn't have to be on the outside. They also need to protect him up front. How about Caden Proctor from Alabama?
Oh.
Proctor, if he's there at 19, this would feel like very good value. Proctor is an athletic left tackle, despite being 6'7", 350 pounds.
This is why, and I'm not trying to be critical, and I like Joe Klatt is obviously a big deal and a I mean, I feel like he's really the godfather of college football. When you think college football, I think of him. So I think he is phenomenal at college football, but I don't normally agree with his takes with these mock drafts, because Caden Proctor to me is a huge red flag for a bust. Like that would be way too early for me.
Who knows? Maybe he gets selected all the way up there, like with the Browns pick, and it's not Freeling, but it's Proctor. I don't know. But if he's here at 19, I really like the idea of giving Bryce Young more protection up front. So Caden Proctor at 19 to the Panthers. Now the Cowboys are on the clock for their second pick here in this first round. It's number 20. This one was from Green Bay. Dallas, I have them taking Caleb Downs. Love that pick. Don't overthink it. Now, second pick in the first round, the defense was not good at all. And in particular, the pass defense. And guess what? There's this player, and he's coming off of injury. Didn't play a lot last year. If he was healthy and working out, you could make a strong argument that he would be in the conversation with Mansour Delane as the top corner in the draft. He did not work out of the combine. He is going to work out at his pro day. Pending that workout, watch out for Jermod McCoy from Tennessee. If all of a sudden Dallas came out of the first round after doing what they did in pass defense a year ago, and they came out of the first round with Caleb Downs, who I think is the best defender in the draft overall, and a guy that they could get at 20 that you could, in theory, say is the top corner in the draft. That would be incredible. I think that would be, listen, if this is what happens, I think Dallas would win the first round of the draft, all those draft grades right after. If he's back to himself after the injury, it's an ACL. If he's back and he has a good workout, man, watch out. Because again, that is great value as he slipped because of the injury. They can get him at 20, pair him with Downs. Now you've got this young secondary that could be one of the better secondaries in the league in the next couple of years.
Yeah. I'm not for Proctor at that space. Also, Jermod McCoy, I think if he wouldn't have gotten hurt, he would have been a top 5 player in this draft. That's how good he is. But unfortunately, he got hurt. So, man, oh man. All right.
Skyscanner searches billions of prices to find you epic travel deals.
Be back in a bit. Try not to burn the house down.
Howdy, it's Ben Solak. Welcome back to the show. We've been breaking down a lot of 2026 prospect film. We've got Ty Simpson, Ruben Bain, Jeremiah Love. You can watch them all. Today we're watching Ohio State linebacker Sonny Styles, and we're joined by Sonny, who walks through some of his film, the transition from safety to linebacker, the physicality that position requires, how you play in those short zones that linebackers have to fill. It's a great episode. We're joined at the end by Sam Acho of ESPN to talk all things front 7 prospects here in the 2026 NFL Draft. Hope you enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, the All-American linebackers here with us. Block 0 from Ohio State, Sonny Styles. What's up, man? How we doing?
Pretty good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I had a chance to meet you in Indianapolis. It was a nice time. I watched you jump 43.5 on the vert. I don't know if you remember this. I asked you. I said, Sonny, what are you going to do in the broad? Do you remember what you told me?
Did I say something over 11?
You said a little more than 11. And then what did you jump in the broad?
11-2.
A little more than 11. It was that was a buzzy day in Indianapolis, man. Linebackers first day open. Nobody thinks the Superman athlete's going to be in that group, and there you were, dude. That was an unreal performance.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Now, I was listening to your podium back in Indianapolis, and they were talking about some of your favorite plays of the year, and one of the plays that you brought up was Miami against Malachi Toney.
Yes, sir.
On the jet sweep. And so, first play that you mentioned is this one here. It's in the college football playoff, and it is a 6-yard tackle for loss in which I think I can say pretty confidently here, brother, you knew what was coming. So I'm curious here, pre-snap, why do you feel like you're pointing at Arvell right now, immediately right away? You're saying, hey, man, look, why do you feel like you know what's coming here?
Yeah, we're all talking to each other in the field. So we see Toney was a big jet sweep guy going into that game throughout the whole year. So a bunch of jet sweeps. They get to it at a bunch of different formations. Typically with the jet sweeps, you see the running backs like the lead blocker. So
I don't know how Ohio State, I literally don't know how Ohio State did not win the national championship when they have, 3 guys going in the top 10. This defense was stacked.
So he's kind of in line for that. And then Toney's staring in. So me and Caleb were talking. I see him, and I point to Arvell to have him.
They have Reese Downs and Styles all on the same team. That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Scoot out so the ball doesn't get outside of him, so I can just go shoot, take my shot, go.
Right. And when you look at this thing from the end zone copy, right, after they bring the tight end over, to me, I'm looking right here and I'm saying, man, this split is real big, isn't it? It ain't usually that much space here between the tight end and the tackle.
Yeah, you can see the split, and you can see like the width and depth of the back, like the back shallow, like he's not in a position to like do any like have a handoff or anything like that.
Right, because if you were pulling here and pulling here, you'd expect the back to be a little bit further back, so you actually get to the mesh point, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So back is shallow, tight end's wide, and then
I love Solak. He's such a nerd, but it is hilarious to me how anybody is calling Ben Solak sir, especially when you're like this generational linebacker prospect.
And I mean, I don't know. I feel like when you're 6'5" and you're on a 4.36, you can clear this gap pretty quick.
4.36. I don't know about 4.36.
4.46. 4.46. I was thinking Jeremiah.
I'm not that fast.
Just 4.46. Just regular fast. Yeah. Still.
Just regular fast for sure.
And then the other play that you brought up that I was curious because I hadn't seen this one until you mentioned it is you said in 2024 against Texas in the playoff they let me rush the passer. So we went and we found this one. So this is 2024. You're wearing number 6, right? Hadn't got the block 0 yet. Cody still had it, and they gave you the chance here to rush the passer, and you get the sack on Quinn Ewers. Why does this play stand out to you as one of your favorites?
I liked it a lot because,
they've got like an over, like, look how many more guys they got over here than they got over here.
I don't get the opportunity to do this as much this year. And it wasn't something I was mad about. I loved the way I played this year. Like, true, was able to sit in the middle of the defense and, kind of be the commander of the defense. But this play stood out to me is because I think sometimes, I don't know if people realize that I do have some type of ability to rush the passer. Not saying I'm elite at it, but I think I have traits, and if I work on it, it's something I can become elite at as well. And I think this is a play that sticks out to me because
the thing with Sonny too is that he's so like, obviously he's like, I'm not an expert at it. Like, bro, you are you are very, very, he doesn't have to be humble about it is what I'm saying. And he's choosing to be humble about it.
It was something I worked on like throughout the season, like just.
I was about to say, you hit a rush move here, right? This said you ain't making this up now. This is for real.
Yeah, this is something I worked on with Coach Larry Johnson a lot, like the chop. It's something that felt comfortable and natural for me. I was working it all year, hoping to get a chance to execute in the game, and then one of the biggest moments of the season pops up. So it's a pretty cool play for me. I like this play a lot.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have when you're the defense coordinator at Ohio State and you've got Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles. You got to figure out which one do you want to rush off the edge and which one do you want to actually leave a sack. That's a problem a lot of defensive coaches don't have. They got to pick between the two. Yeah,
no doubt. I was gonna say, I think for me, it felt good knowing like if this is against a pretty good offensive line, and like offensive line right there, right tackle, he's a pretty good player. So yeah, it was a play that stood out to me. Something I thought about when I was up there on the podium. Kind of just came to my mind randomly, honestly.
Yeah, we get the chop now. We got to start getting the shoulder dip and the rip here now, right? We got to start getting the tight little corner. But no, we finished at the quarterback, strip the football out too. The length, man, like you get when you're playing in zone, when you're at the quarterback, that shows up a lot where you're able to kind of get into the catch point, get into the ball carrier's hands a little bit.
Yes, sir. You got to keep maximizing that length and athleticism, trying to make the most of it.
Yeah. Now we did your favorite plays. Now we get to do my favorite plays. I hear about safety convert to linebacker, and I say to myself, all right, number one question I've got is how does he play in the contact, right? Because sometimes you take these safeties and move them into linebacker, they don't necessarily want to. These guys are going to be physical inside the box, right? These are going to be guys who are going to want to play a little bit lighter, a little bit smaller. So when you made the transition, safety to linebacker, was that, I think, like, when you made that transition, was that your biggest kind of change in play? Like, all right, now we've got to play a little bit more physically. We've got to be a little more aggressive coming into contact. What was the biggest shift for you when you made that change?
The physicality part of it wasn't really like something I was worried about. It was more so being closer to the line of scrimmage, and now these big offensive linemen are climbing up to you. So you got to be able to get off the blocks. So block destruction was part of it, like something I had to work on because it wasn't something I needed as often playing safety because I was most of the time the free hitter. So now I'm not the free hitter. Now I'm always accounted for. Someone's coming up to me. I got to be elite at block destruction, or I'm not going to be elite linebacker. So it's definitely something I had to work on.
So when you went to learn about block deconstruction, who'd you rely on?
In terms of like coaches?
Coaches or players?
Talking a lot to like Cody when I first switched. He's been playing linebacker for a while. Having Coach James Laurinaitis. He's obviously historic player here at Ohio State, playing NFL for a long time. Amazing player. He has lots of information. Coach Patricia was great. My second year, he helped me as well. And then talking with my dad, he used to play at Ohio State, so we talked about he played linebacker, so it was awesome.
Beating the buzzer, that's easy. But stress sweating on live TV, that stinks.
Secret has 3 times the sweat protection versus ordinary antiperspirant.
Not using Secret Clinical, now that's a rookie move.
Secret, fresher under pressure.
They call you an overachiever, too competitive, a perfectionist. We call
Now, you don't see a lot of 6'5" linebackers in the league, right? You're real tall for the position. Does that, like, were there taller linebackers that you watched in particular to get a sense of, okay, when you have this much pad level and you have this much height to you, you can, at times those linemen are 6'3", right? And they're just naturally going to be underneath you. So were there taller linebackers that you watched on film or talked about with Coach Patricia, like this is how you address the position when you have this much height to you?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Patricia showed me guys he's had, like Dante Hightower's a pretty big guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's 6'5", but he's big. So he showed him like these massive linebackers he had, or like you see dudes in the league like Edmonds.
Yeah, Edmonds is huge.
6'5", or he's coming out from VTech. Fred Warner's pretty big. I think he's 6'4".
Yep.
I think the biggest thing though that I knew, especially talking like Coach Patricia, my dad, Laurinaitis, is being able to be that tall. So get the pad level down, kind of like spring up your body, and then once you get to the point of contact, unload and expand. Right. So you kind of see one here on this clip right here.
I was about to say, I don't know. You must know what play I'm about to show you here, because talk about explosion right through his chest, man. So you guys are in this front a lot, right? Where you get to this, what I would call like, this is a penny front sort of structure, right? We're in kind of like a 5-1. Obviously, Arvell can walk out and you can be more of a 4-2. But this now, you're asking the one stack backer here. This is you to be able to play, C gap to C gap. You've got to be able to flow. And then when you get into contact here, this is, if you get met right here, then there's a gap to this side, there's a gap to that side. Like you said, Caleb's that free fitter, but they're gonna be able to get this ball outside of you. So you have to be fast and explosive into contact here. And man, pop them, right? And just slows the whole play down.
Yeah, I think the mindset here, you see Arvell sends it back in. I'm supposed to spill the ball, but the way I spill the ball is like to go and try and make the tackle with his back. Is like the way.
I think one of the things that doesn't get talked about enough for linebackers and for safeties is you need to have really good anticipation. Like if you don't have really good anticipation, you can't play. You can't be a top end linebacker. And what I see there is like really, once again, these are just my thoughts, but like really good anticipation, right? Like really good anticipation. He sees it before it happens, and then he sees traffic, and then he's like, let me shift to the right and
go
get
be
it.
aggressive in the hole.
Yeah.
If you go hit him early enough, you should basically close the hole, and that's kind of what happened right here.
Yeah, we talk about this a lot in the NFL now. The NFL's trying to fit a lot more from too high, right? And it's, hey, like they might have a body for a body, but if you slow this pool ball down, right? If he's got to just pitter patter, and he can't hit the whole fast, then we'll have rally, right? We'll have guys come in and they'll be able to get the tackle down. And so this is
right here. Like even if this dude would have like made it out and bounced, like you can see Caleb coming over the top, and I'm giving him by making the ball bounce drastically.
Yeah, I tell you, and it's nice when it's Caleb. All right, it makes sense on the chalkboard when it's any safety. When it's Caleb, you feel a little better about it.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. You moved to linebacker the year that Caleb joined Ohio State, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So how much conversation was there between you two in terms of figuring out, all right, this is how we want to play together, this is how we want to space zones. Hey, when you fit it like this, hey, when you shoot like that, because you guys end up Caleb plays so close to the line of scrimmage, you guys end up occupying a lot of the same space on the field, even though positionally you're in different groups.
Yeah, we talked a lot, especially this year. Last year, I talked a lot with our strong safety, Lathan Ransom, because me and him worked together a lot. But yeah, this past year, me and Caleb talked a tremendous amount. A lot of times him coming down the box and being the big nickel, so he becomes like right next to me, like the nickel and the Mike work together, so he's right next to me in a lot of these plays. So yeah, we talk a lot of ball, just talking about how we see it, how do you want to play this when we get to the game, things like that.
Now you brought up Caleb being the big nickel. Some of the plays that you get to make, man, when you get walked out into space, right? A lot of times, again, we're talking about in the league here, you can get, you get to an empty formation and you can get your opponent's linebackers to be in a spot where they've got to make plays in space. You're winning, right? Like, all right, we're going to space this guy out in zone. We're going to show multiple routes to him. He's not going to be able to handle this. Yeah. When it's a 6'5" ex safety, it's a little bit different, right? How much of your safety background gives you the comfort that you've got right now in terms of like your zone coverage responsibilities?
Yeah, I mean, I think it gives me a lot more comfortability because, my first 2 years I was playing at 12 yards, closing the post, playing at 12 yards.
I'm telling you all right now, if Sonny Styles falls to 19, there is absolutely no question that you just turn in the card right away. If Sonny Styles is there at 19, you turn in the card quicker than you've ever turned any card in. He's that good. He's that good. And to me, it doesn't even have to do with his testing. I mean, it has to do with just the kind of player he is and how he's going to change your, just how much change. Yeah, he's phenomenal to me. Let's go. I wanted to kind of show a little bit about what's going on. Let me share this instead. And then we'll go here. Ooh, that's too much. Let me make sure y'all can see that. All right. So we're already having some conversations today about, y'all should go follow Kev. He's really, really good. And I love Kev. He's phenomenal. Really, really, really good. What else? I shared, and then I think Panthers on Tap shared it too afterwards. Oh, this was interesting by Josh. So Josh said Oregon had 446 designed running plays. Kenyon Sadiq was on the field for 332. Vanderbilt had 307 design runs. Eli Stout was on the field for 127 games. So, pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Once again, my take is that we should stay away from tight end. I would stay away from Stowers, and I would stay away from Sadiq. And I think sometimes we get really pressured into like, oh, we have to do this, or no, like you don't do that. The point I'm making is people are talking like he's a slam dunk. Yeah, Dunk and I are kind of aligned on this. Like he is not the player that everybody thinks he is. That's my take. Oh, Mel Kiper's new mock has Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, 3 safeties in the top 20. This isn't surprising, right? Like with the rise of safeties and with the rise of just the way safeties are playing, more and more people want to play safeties. That's really what it is. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren at 19 is really rich for me. 3 safeties in the top 20. McNeil-Warren deserves to be here. He has the speed and instincts to make plays, accumulating 10 forced fumbles and 5 interceptions over 4 seasons at Toledo. Carolina focused on defense this month, signing edge rusher Jalen Phillips and linebacker Devin Lloyd a sizable contracts. It also brought back Nick Scott. But anyways, also we have a Daniel Jeremiah mock coming out today, which is going to be really, really good. Mike K is in South Carolina. He's at the South Carolina Pro Day, so that's where he's at. But yeah, there's a pretty big drop off to me. There's a pretty big drop off. Oh, this is interesting. Total capital used to draft wide receivers since 2022. That's something. I'm actually going to tweet about that real quick. I think we get in trouble when we say there's no way, right? We get in trouble when we say there's no way that a certain team should draft this, or there's no, when all that gets focused on is needs, that's when mistakes are made. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, like I think that's where mistakes are made to me. But pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. But yeah. So Green Bay is 1, Chargers are 2, Jacksonville is 3. Sorry, Jacksonville's 4, Chicago's 5, New York, Texans, Patriots. So pretty interesting in terms of that. All right. We have been going for an hour and 40 minutes. I need to get ready for my real job. So thanks for hopping on stream. We'll do it again tomorrow morning, same time. My schedule's the same one. So it's around 6 a.m. every morning. 6 a.m. Pacific time, 9 a.m. Eastern time, Monday through Thursday. Friday, I've got sessions earlier, so I'll do it later. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's more random, but Monday through Thursday is going to be consistent at the same time. Okay. All right, guys, take care. Have a good one.